Coming up on tonight's brand new episode of Don't Panic, we've got some tech news to talk about, including Cortana going multi-platform, the launch of the Google Store and PlayStation Vue. We also talk about HBO refusing to sell HBO. We've got a ton of other news and some great picks. It's a Don't Panic episode you're going to want to watch because it's coming up next. This is Don't Panic, episode number 86, recorded March 16th, 2015. I'm Pricey Pixels, View Soon, and Siri versus Cortana. I'm Sean Jennings. Welcome to Don't Panic. I'll tell you why that opening was hilarious in a minute, but first, let me introduce our two gentlemen right here. They are the Kodak and Polaroid of technology. Hipsters love them. It's Colby Rabideau and Dan Miller. Sir, how are we doing this week?
I'm pretty good. Nothing crazy to report. Spent my weekend in Western Mass, so that was exciting.
That's the most happening part of Massachusetts, I hear.
Springfield, it's where it's at. It's definitely a place you want to go.
You got the Basketball Hall of Fame.
We do. We're
It's true.
A significant Irish population, as it turns out, from a very specific part of Ireland, where I read that there's an island they had to evacuate that was just too remote sometime after World War II off the coast of Ireland, and all the people moved to Springfield, Massachusetts. Which, yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Now you know.
It's fascinating.
I'll leave you with one other fun fact. Springfield is home to the Merriam-Webster dictionary people, and they actually have every single word written on a card in drawers in their headquarters building. I'm not sure why, but that's a real thing.
Just the word on a card?
Well, and the definition.
Okay, so it's like the Dewey Decimal System, but for words.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you experienced this firsthand?
No, I only read about it. I'd love to see it. It must be a real thrill.
Yeah. Especially for, the trivia nerds among us. That's something to put a feather in your cap.
You learned something today. What was funny about the opening was I was playing the music. I played the music off of my iPhone into the mixer, and my phone was plugged in. And when I said Siri kicked on, and that's what stopped the music from playing right in the middle of the opening. Apple is a little too convenient. Thanks, Apple.
Wait, Siri does like an always listening thing?
If you turn it on and it's plugged in, yes, it will do it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I can go,
this
hey,
happened
Siri.
During the Apple keynote. They edited it out in the recorded version, I think, but in the live, when they were demoing the watch with Hey Siri, everyone's phones in the audience went off who had them plugged into their laptops, and they were doing their live blogging thing. Yeah.
How convenient.
It's funny.
Well, thanks everyone out there for joining us. This is Don't Panic. We do this every week, Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on our website, don'tpanic.io. Go there for all the episodes and all the links to our social media and places you can download the show. We're going to jump right in because we've got some great tech news this week. Promised last week, no Apple. This week, we're sticking to it. Not covering any news from them. Been there, done that. Now we've got to catch up. We've really got news from 2 weeks because last week we only talked about Apple, an hour's worth. So we've got a lot of stories here in the rundown. Gentlemen, as always, I will ask any particular story here that catches your attention you'd like to talk about first. I know, Dan, you've been studying the doc for a few hours.
This is definitely not the first time I have looked at it. Mm-hmm. And by that, I mean, I still haven't looked at it.
I mean, I will pick one. All right, I will pick one to get us started, and then you can get caught up. We're going to talk about HBO. This was a carryover from last week's show. We discussed about how HBO announced HBO Now, their sort of over-the-top cord cutter streaming service. And we said, well, it's an Apple TV semi-exclusive, so it's a streaming exclusive for 3 months. They are the launch partner. Well, little news leaked out this week as a follow-up to that. HBO says you'll have to sign up through a partner to get the service. What that means is you can't go to HBO.com, give them $15, and get HBO Now. It doesn't work that way.
Great. That's exactly what I always hoped and dreamed for.
Isn't that great? So Cablevision already came out as the second partner They get to not be part of this exclusive with Apple TV because they're a cable company, not a tech company, and I guess the exclusive doesn't count those as being the same thing. Cablevision has said HBO Now will be part of its Optimum Internet service at the same price, $15, but you will buy it through them. No one else has announced they are going to be doing this. It's a fair assumption that Roku will let you buy it through Roku, or Comcast will let you buy it through Comcast. That seems presumptive, but we just don't know yet.
Interesting.
Wait, what are you saying? You're saying that you don't know that this will ever go to any other platform?
Well, nothing's been confirmed. We can assume, but no one else has blatantly come out and said they're doing it. Because if you think about it, hypothetically, if you're Comcast, you have HBO Go for those who buy HBO through your service. So why would you there's not, other than...
What about Roku's, though?
But Comcast doesn't care about Roku's, is what I'm saying.
Sure, but everyone else does. Like, I think the market share for a Roku is higher than anything your cable box give you besides the DVR. Like, so I bet there are more people who have Rokus than have ever used HBO Go.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Right, so I don't think that Comcast is stealing anything from HBO by providing an alternative that is very difficult to use. It's a terrible user experience. You have to download this app that isn't very good, which is HBO's fault, or sign into this website that's just really weird, and you have to OAuth with your cable provider, which doesn't actually work, so you're just giving them your password.
But you'll be doing the same thing with HBO Now, is what I'm saying.
No, you'll have an actual HBO account that you log into.
But you have to do it through someone else. So you don't have to prove you pay for cable subscription service. But you'll have to do it through Apple. With your Apple ID, you'll have to do it through Roku with a Roku ID. HBO has said it is not your HBO account. You are not giving your credit card number to HBO. They don't want to do that.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that.
There'll always be a go-between. Essentially what they did was open HBO Go to people who aren't cable companies.
Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, maybe that's fine. I don't know. It seems weird, though. I mean, I guess... I don't know.
I mean,
I can see why you wouldn't want to handle credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Fair enough.
If you don't have to. But there are also alternatives. Stripe comes to mind. I think it's the only one left at this point, where you can have branded payment accepting, where you're not the one handling the payments themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think... if I think about it, I mean, Roku has my credit card. I don't think I've ever actually bought anything through Roku other than the Roku device itself. They're not necessarily primed set up for this in a way Apple is as familiar with payments. My other concern is that, say I have an Apple TV and I buy my HBO Now subscription through Apple. Does that mean I'll be able to use the HBO Now Android app?
I believe there isn't an Android app yet, so no, you couldn't.
But I think it's a fair assumption they'll have one.
But this is why, because I was just listening to something today where they were talking about how you will probably be able to, if you have an Apple device, pay for HBO on the Apple device and then pay for HBO Now on the Apple device and then use HBO Now on the web.
You are able to use it on the web.
How does that work? Who's handling the credit card transaction on the web?
I think you have to... I don't know, Dan. That's a really great question. The honest answer is we don't know. We really honestly just don't know.
This is very, very confusing.
Well,
new ground.
I think what they did, they just announced this too early, and I think Cablevision kind of leaked it a little bit. They wanted to come out and tell their customers they had it. I think if HBO had kind of explained it in the way they wanted at launch with Apple TV, at April 15th or whatever the date is it launched, it probably would have made more sense.
Yeah.
We just have so many rumors and ideas and what ifs. We really don't know. All we know is it's $15 a month. You will not be able to buy directly from HBO. And Apple TV is the exclusive launch streaming partner for 3 months. and Cablevision will eventually have it. That's literally all the facts we know.
So, on a somewhat related story about confusing things, the other day I decided to watch True Detective on Dan's recommendation on HBO. So I fired up the HBO app, and I started watching. I picked the first episode in the list under the True Detective show. Began watching. I watched the entire episode through, and I finished, and I was like, "Wow, that was super intense. I have no idea what's going to happen in the rest of this season." Turns out HBO Go lists the episodes in like reverse chronological order. So I watched the last episode first. So like, I don't know.
Oh no, Colby.
Like I started at the beginning again, but
That's
I feel like it ruined the experience a little bit.
that is a flawed system right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, they got me good.
They
I
didn't
was
list
too
the
excited.
episode number like right in the title.
They did, but it's super. It's not small. It's not in the title. It's like the title, and then in little text, like the episode number and stuff, and the air date, and then a big description. And I totally over my head, because why would it have been first if I've never watched it before? So yeah, that happened. So
Well,
I know
need
how
to
True
hire
Detective ends.
A solid front end engineer. It sounds like.
It was interesting to watch the first episode and then go back and watch the other ones, because I feel like there were all kinds of like hints at things that happened later that I never would have gotten if I hadn't already watched the last episode of the series.
That's true, and it's worth it just to see whatever that guy from Cheers and Matthew McConaughey. They're really good actors. I mean, it doesn't matter what they're doing. Woody something.
Woody
His
Harrelson.
real name is Woody. Woody Harrelson. Yeah.
Best
His
known
name is
as
Woody.
the
I
guy
was
from
gonna say that, but I was
Cheers.
like, that's his character on Cheers. Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, sorry to hear that, Colby.
It's okay. It was
disappointing.
I mean, I guess it was my fault, but I can't help but feel a little bit of resentment.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose enough of that. Let's continue on. More news, including what, gentlemen? I gave you like 10 minutes to look at the document.
Well, we were talking everything
streaming TV, the PlayStation thing.
Okay, we can talk about the PlayStation thing. This affects you, Dan.
Yay!
Yay! A New York semi-exclusive. Sony's PlayStation Vue. We talked about this on the show. They're sort of competitor to Sling TV. They're over-the-top streaming service called PlayStation Vue, including popular channels such as CBS, Fox, NBC, Comedy Central, FX Discovery, and many more. About 75 channels. So what's that? Nearly 4 times what you get on Sling TV. And you'll also be able to record shows and have them stored in the cloud for 28 days. Well, the big news this week is that it is currently in beta, and it's going to be leaving beta over the next 2 weeks in 3 major cities: New York City, Chicago, and Philadelphia. If you're there, you'll be able to join, give them your money, and enjoy these things. They plan to roll it out nationwide by the end of this year. What we don't know is the cost. Some expect to charge between $50 and $80 for the service, but at this point, we just don't know. One of the other big dings is it does not include ESPN, which is sort of a big selling point of Sling TV. So there you go.
Yeah, I get the opportunity to give Sony more of my money.
I mean, you got to give it to somebody. Why not Sony? They kind of need it.
One of the things I liked about Sling TV is that it was somewhat unlike cable in that you got a small number of channels for a small amount of money. Whereas I feel like this also suffers from the cable problem, which is like I'm paying $80 a month for it and I watch 3 of these things. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Still cool, but
yeah, I think you're absolutely right. But I think what's cool about this is Sling TV and Vue are going after totally different customers, which is great. Because what you want is a range of options, right? So for someone like you, you're going to like Sling because you don't watch a lot of TV and you only watch a couple channels and you don't want to spend a lot. But on the other end, you're going to have people who do watch a lot of television, who use their DVR all the time, who just the cable box is terrible, and they'd rather just use their PlayStation all the time. So even if it's the same amount of money, it's still an improvement.
That's true. That's a fair point.
So I think it's cool that we have options on both sides of the spectrum. I'm just disappointed. I think this would be absolutely perfect if you could have 75 channels to choose from, but then get to a la carte it, right? And choose 20
right.
or choose 30, and then kind of mix and match that way. And it doesn't sound like that's how you'll be able to do it, but that to me is the real missing piece, where more channels, but you don't have to have all of them.
Yeah, it's strange. I wonder, I feel like if that happens, there are networks that will just fade out of existence. I feel like there are some networks that only exist because you have to get them. You can't not have them.
Colby, you literally existed how cable and satellite works. That's exactly it. So it's an example is Bright House Networks, right? They own HGTV and DIY and the Food Network and it's Bright House Scripts now. But they also own Cooking Channel, right? Which is the Food Network spinoff, which no one watches. But because they negotiated all as a bundle to the cable or satellite company,
right? They
have to take it in order to get the really good channels. So you're right. If you didn't negotiate it as a whole package, a lot of channels would die off, and a lot of big companies would lose money, because even though nobody watches them, they still get ad revenue.
Right, and they're still you're still paying for them.
That's exactly. Even if you're paying a quarter for the channel, that's still a quarter more they would get than if it didn't exist at all. So that's why they're so resistant to do something like this.
Fascinating. We should start a cable company.
Colby, if this were the mid-'80s, I would absolutely agree with you. I think that phase has passed.
Damn.
You're a little late. But anyway, PlayStation View. Dan, are you gonna give it a shot?
Sure, I'll do it. I'll do it for science. I'll do it for the show.
I think that's great.
It's a little worrying that they don't mention how much it costs if it's only a couple weeks out.
Well, they might. To be honest, they might still be negotiating.
Yeah. So one of the downsides of that thing that lets you stream the games on the PlayStation, PlayStation Now, is that it costs too much. You should be able to rent a game for an hour at a really low cost, and I'm pretty sure right now you can't. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I really like that, and I'm really glad I tried it. So I will also try this. I'll report back for the good of mankind.
That is great. Outstanding. We'll put it. See, and this is the difference between Dan and I, right? Is Dan gets to try out the $50 month service. I have to buy the $600 smartwatch. I'm just saying.
Hey! I thought we all agreed we were going to take the Apple Watch challenge, or I don't know. Didn't we agree? I also agreed. Colby, peer pressure.
All right, good. All right, Dan's on board. I like this.
Wait. I thought just Sean was doing this.
Apparently not. Oh. Dan signed you up.
Well, right. I signed myself up.
I'll think about it.
All right.
I hadn't even considered it.
This is great. I love it.
That sounds like a no.
I mean, I was so pumped about my Pebble, but I guess that's not coming till May, so...
It's a 14-day challenge. That's my rule. If I don't like it, I'm just going to return it and not feel bad about it. Because you're a consumer, you're allowed to do that. And honestly, Apple being the largest corporation in the history of planet Earth, I think we'll be fine if I return my watch. They're not going out of business, so I'm not.
Well, they might not invite you back to any Apple events, but
they'll know. You might not ever get invited to an Apple.
Yeah, my last invitation got lost in the mail. All right, let's continue on with more news, gentlemen. Anything this time?
I want to talk about the Chromebook Pixel, the new one.
Let's talk about the Chromebook Pixel. So I'm trying to think. We must have talked about it on the show, though I can't remember us doing it.
Maybe not. When did that old one come out? I'm looking it up. You can.
Okay, while you do that, I'll explain. There's a new one, right? So there was the old one, and now there's the new one. It's newer than the old one. Here's the idea. The Chromebook Pixel was the super high-end Chromebook put out by Google itself to compete with a arguably MacBook type of price point. It was interesting because it was big, it was metal, it had a 3:2 ratio display that was full touch screen, and it was like $1,200-$1,300 for a Chromebook. Kind of a little out there at the time.
The Chromebook Pixel was released on February 21st, 2013. So before our show started.
Wow. So it's been a long time since they've upgraded this thing.
Yeah.
It really has. Well, there's a new one. The design is very similar. Here's what's new. Upgraded internals. They've upgraded to a Core i5, or if you pay more, a Core i7 chip, including more RAM and more storage. They've upgraded the battery life, which was a complaint on the original. It's now up to 12 hours on a charge, and you can also get, I think, 2 hours of battery out of 15-minute charge in case you're really low. And a new price tag. The good news is cheaper, starting at $999 for the base model. If you get the higher processor, it's another $300, bringing it up to $1,300. So it still has the original 3:2 ratio, giant touchscreen display. The other big change,
which is, the 3:2 aspect ratio is one of the differentiating features of this, I think.
It's very interesting that they
Now,
went
is
that way.
that wider or taller?
It's squarer.
It's tall. Yeah. Okay.
It's almost a square.
Taller.
Interesting. Yeah, that's like iPad style, right? Kind of.
Yeah, a little more, yeah. Yeah, and in addition, they added 2 USB-C ports, as we talked about last week on the new MacBooks. They included those as well, but kept the old USB ports as well as the full-size SD card reader. They just didn't include an HDMI port, for which, of course, you can get a dongle. There's a few other tweaks and changes. It is available now on the Google Store.
It has AC Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 4.0, and double the battery life, it claims. From 5 hours to 10 hours of active use.
That's excellent. I think it's a really good-looking computer, to be honest. I mean, is it better than a MacBook? Whatever. I mean, you can make an argument, but for a Chromebook, it's beautiful. I just and maybe this is why Google does it, but aren't Chromebooks supposed to be the cheap computers? I thought that was the whole theory. This is very...
No, I don't think that's their theory. I think their theory is that a computer should only be a web browser, and that's all you need. And so design the operating system to support that use case, and you'll have a better computer, which is arguably true for a lot of people. If you just have a web browser, you can make the operating system much more secure. The OS updates itself automatically. I think that's the real benefit I see. So this is people who buy MacBooks and go to college. There are a couple. The biggest thing that sticks out in my mind is printing. Mm-hmm. And this might handle that better than... So the only experience I have with Google printing things is an Android tablet where it's terrible. I've
used Google. I bought a new printer a little while back. It has Google Cloud Print, and I've done it from my iPhone, and it's worked pretty well.
Right, but if you were to go to school and use the school printers, they're not going to have Google Cloud Print.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that sticks out in my mind. No one uses flash drives anymore. No one uses mice anymore.
That's true.
No one uses the external displays.
So I would say, I don't know, about the printing thing at school. I don't know about you guys, but I almost always would just go to the library and print the thing out on the computers there rather than try and print from my actual computer.
Sure. Right. Yep. Yeah, so if you want a really nice computer and you can afford it and you're comfortable with the trade-off of only doing things in the browser, then I think this is a really good buy. I mean, the guy who wrote Linux uses this also. So
I'm a big fan of Chrome OS. It's funny, my father, who is one of the least technologically literate people I've ever met, on his own without consulting me, which I always tell him he should consult me, went out and bought a Chromebook for himself. Didn't know it was a Chromebook. He just thought it was a computer. Yeah. And he loves it. Uses it all the time. Yeah. What bothers me is you can get 3 really good Chromebooks for the cost of this one Pixel. Why would I ever need an i7 chip in a Chromebook? Because you're not going to be playing...
If you're Linus Torvalds and you're not using this as a Chromebook, you're installing Linux on it, and you're writing Linux, the operating system, then an i7 comes in handy.
So that's like 0.0000001% of people.
Right. But then think about all the customers of this who are actually Google employees, and that percentage starts to get a little bit higher.
All right, so listen, I agree. It's probably not a mass market product. We don't know how many of the original they sold. I can't imagine it was a ton. To me, It is just like a poster item, a catalog, an item you put in the window to make people turn their heads and look. Like to me, yeah.
I think your argument against this is the same argument that your typical most Windows users have against a MacBook, is that like you can get the same computer for half the price.
Yeah.
Like, why would you buy it?
But my difference is that those are two different operating systems.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but it's still, admittedly, my knowledge of the breadth of the Chromebook marketplace is incomplete at best. However, like they're
entirely absent at worst.
Right. At most realistic, if you but like there's still, if I was gonna buy a Chromebook, like I don't know, I'm accustomed to my aluminum, hefty, nice feeling computer lifestyle. I don't think I would want to downgrade to crappy plastic, like less nice feeling computer lifestyle. Even if it were half the price, like I could still, given it's a different operating system, but I could get a Windows computer for $500 instead of my MacBook Air for $1,000. Like, and again, like it's the same thing with MacBooks. Like, not every person in the world is going to buy a MacBook because some people care more about a cheap computer, but some people care more about a better computer. And for those people, if they can't get a nice, like that build kind of like product quality, the physical quality from their computer, they're not going to try Chrome OS. Mm-hmm. Like, why would they? So.
Yeah, and it goes back to the discussion we just had on television, right? Where there's a range of customers, and some people are going to have budgets at every level, and it'd be stupid for Google not to have something
right
for the premium customer. For every $400 Windows machine, there's a $1,200 Windows machine. So,
right.
I think you're right. I think there's definitely a range of customers, and I think it's good. I'm just surprised it took Google so long to look at upgrading it and making it better. So,
yeah,
it's also interesting that they build and make it too, which I think is they don't make any other Chromebooks. This is the only one they make.
That's neat. I didn't know that. I'm really intrigued. Like, there's a part of me that really wants to buy a Chromebook.
Yes.
But there's no reason. There's no reason to do it.
Dan and I will get the watches. You can get the Chromebook.
You can take the Chromebook challenge. It's your only computer for 2 weeks.
Yes.
If I still worked at a place that did the like sandbox, like virtual like server that you developed on, I would totally do it, but I don't.
You don't do that?
No, and it's a damn shame because it sucks. We have like a hacked up version of like NPM that installs everything in like a custom directory, and it's a shame. It's really a shame. It does feel bad. It mostly it works fine for the most of the work stuff. The only problem is when you try and do anything else, it never works because it's like NPM is not in the right place. So like nothing gets installed in the place it was expecting to get installed, and it just never works. It's sad times. But yeah. So for that reason, I will not.
Okay.
I'll suffer through my MacBook Pro. Though I will consider getting one of those sweet MacBook Airs because that's everything.
Oh, you are going to consider that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
the 15-inch, man. It's so big. I can't do it. I can't do it. Plus, if I got it, I wouldn't use it for work because I have a work machine.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I would use it for, when I travel and stuff, which is when I really want it. And that's when I felt like when the big laptop has really hurt me the most, when I'm like crammed into the back of some like last minute flight on American Airlines and the person in front of me has their seat back and I'm like, well,
Oh
I
yeah,
can't
you
do
can't use a
anything.
15-inch laptop
Yeah,
on
no.
an airplane in economy. There's no way.
Right.
I can't even.
No,
I can
no.
barely use a 13-inch laptop when they put the seat back. If
Yeah,
I
yeah.
put my seat back too, then it almost works.
Right. Yeah. So that's the thing that I'm like, I might try that someday. We'll see.
We're gonna be so broke. Let's. No one needs to know. Let's continue on to our next story here in the rundown. Anything in particular, gentlemen? Or will we pick one out of the pile?
Out of the hat.
Out of the hat. Let's talk about Pebble Steel.
Yeah, because
There.
Colby wants one of those.
Colby's
Apparently.
Colby's
Oh no, you
bought
want
one.
the.
I got the
What?
regular one because it's cheaper and it comes sooner, and that's.
Oh, you
all the
have
things.
it?
I don't have it. I backed the Kickstarter, so it's
Oh,
supposed
the
to.
new one,
Yeah,
the color one.
right. But
Okay.
not the steel. The steel. They announced like after they opened the Kickstarter, they announced that Pebble Steel, which is like the new one except nicer looking and more expensive, is coming out, and that's not the one I'm getting.
So naturally, I backed the Pebble Steel.
I figured, yeah.
I don't think
So
that's a surprise.
you already have a thing on your wrist, though.
And I love it. I love my Pebble. I honestly do. It can be occasionally a pain in the ass, but I absolutely love it, and I'm really excited for the new one. So let's talk about the news. We talked a couple weeks ago about them launching Pebble Time on Kickstarter and what it meant and all of that. Well, this was an update to the Kickstarter, and they announced two things. The first being Pebble Time Steel. It is the Pebble Time. We talked about the one they previously had on the Kickstarter, which was plasticky. This one, made of metal, all metal, stainless steel. It's a little thicker and heavier than its partner in crime, the regular Time. But the reason for that is it has a larger battery that they expect to last about 10 days on a charge. It's available in 3 colors, stainless steel, black, and gold. Each will come with a metal link bracelet and a leather strap. It's available through the same Kickstarter campaign at $250, though the regular one will retail at $299. If you backed the original Pebble Time, as I did, you can upgrade and not lose your place in the pre-order line. It'll ship in July, about 2 months after the regular Time. It also has a nicer laminated display, so the display looks a little more close to the surface. It doesn't look as far away. And that's it for the steel. In addition, they also described the smart straps that will be able to work with Pebble. So it's got a little data port on the Time. And you'll be able to use these smart straps to connect to that. And they say, we don't know what people will create for it, but it could be things like a heart rate measurer, or could display lights or notifications on the band, or could add battery life, or all sorts of things. And they've put out sort of an SDK plan for that. So
I thought that was clever.
it's a unique idea. I'd be interested to see if people actually build anything for it.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, they could, right? If they.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think the steel. I was happy. For me, it was worth it. I really love my steel now, and I think that the steel is just really, really nice looking. So, I think it's a cool watch, and I'm honestly like, we talked about this last week, and I don't want to rehash it, but I'm sort of still on the fence about the Apple Watch, but I'm really excited for the Pebble Time, and what that means I don't know, but I just this sort of keeps me interested and a little bit excited.
Me too. Me too.
Okay. Not a lot of comment, but that's fine. We just deliver the facts.
Yeah, I've never. I don't know. I feel like maybe I should try a Pebble before I go all in. Although I've already agreed to the Apple Watch challenge, so it's too late for me.
Well, Dan, I'll tell you what, because my old steel's going to go up on eBay when the new one comes in. I'll send it to you, and you can try it.
As soon as the Apple Watch comes in, you're not even going to wait to see if you'll keep it or not?
No. When the new Pebble Time comes in, if I don't like the Apple Watch.
Okay.
I'm definitely replacing my current one with one of the two.
Well, how much more expensive is the Pebble Time?
Over...
if you were to buy a Pebble Watch new today.
Oh, it's about the same... no, the Pebble Steel current one is $199. If you buy the new Steel through the Kickstarter, it's $250.
Okay.
And as far, the plastic one, it's $99 and it's $179 on the Kickstarter.
That's a good price.
It is a good price. It honestly is. I mean, this Apple Watch stuff is ridiculous, but it's
impulse
a lot of functionality difference. So, it's tough to compare the two. But yeah, I feel like I get the value out of mine. I love it. So we'll see about that. We'll wait till those ship. Let's continue on. We've got time for more news, including... I don't know. Let's talk about Pandora quickly. This has not been actually announced, but it's been rumored and oh no, it has been confirmed. The company confirmed that Pandora is planning to release a new Day Pass subscription, which unlocks access to ad-free content for a short period of time. It'll cost 99 cents for a day of access, although they're still tweaking exactly the pricing and length and how that'll work. Currently, you can pay $4.99 a month and get the premium service, which is higher quality radio, more skips, no ads. But this would be another option for them. According to Pandora's financials they've released, subscription revenue was less than a quarter of the revenue received for the company, and only, I read somewhere, something like 5 or 10% of everyone who uses Pandora is actually a subscriber. So I think it's a way to get more money out of them and less out of advertisers. So I think it's interesting. I paid for Pandora for a while, and then I just found myself not using it. I was listening to podcasts more, the music I already owned, and I stopped. But I think 99 cents, if I just needed it for, if I'm working home for a day or something like that, and I just want to put it on, I think 99 cents could be an interesting sort of model.
I think it's kind of neat. The thing that immediately came to mind for me is like, oh, I'm having a party tomorrow and I want to put on Pandora, but it's really annoying when the ads come up and it stops playing every hour, as it is apt to do. I would totally use it for that. But
do you use Pandora? Either of you?
No, I don't. I use Spotify.
I did. I've never used Spotify, honestly. I've always used Pandora. And I love the service, don't get me wrong. I just don't listen to it because I do stuff and just don't listen to it.
So you don't use it then, Sean?
No, I don't use it. I really like it. I don't not use it because I don't like it. I don't use it just because I don't use it. I'm a big fan, if that makes any sense.
Sure, fair enough.
So there you go, 99 cents. No time or date set for that. Let's see what else. Cortana. Let's talk Cortana. Microsoft has been on kind of a crazy streak here. Let's be honest. I mean, they're just shooting their services on any platform that'll take them. Well, Microsoft is planning to bring its Cortana digital assistants to iOS and Android as a standalone app. This is not a fact. This is a Reuters reporting that the standalone app will be available on phones and tablets on those platforms. We talked previously about how Cortana's coming to Windows 10. It'll be there as well. So no date on the time of when that's happening or what exactly it will do on your device, other than the fact it will exist there.
Indeed.
There was really no news this week. We were really scraping the bottom of the barrel. I'm sorry, people. Really, it was a very quiet week. I don't know what happened.
Could Microsoft ever succeed on other platforms with that? Like Google now doesn't work on iOS at all.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'd never use it.
But could it even work as well as Google Now on Android? Does Google give you that sort of ability?
None of us use Android.
We don't have any Android users left in the show.
I don't know. I feel like it's certainly more likely. I don't know though.
It would definitely work better.
Right. I don't know. I feel like it's not, but who knows? I mean, I think it makes sense though, even in that, if you have a computer and you use the reminders on your computer, the reminders get pushed to your phone.
That to me is like the single biggest advantage to Cortana.
Yeah.
Is as a Windows user on Windows 10, if she already knows everything about me, more so than Siri does, because I'm not an Apple guy, that's a big advantage. And then if you start, Apple's a little more open with things like the widgets in the notification center, and it's a little more integrated than it used to be. So I think there might be a use case if you're a big Windows guy with an iOS or Android phone or tablet. I mean, you can't blame them for trying, right? It's not like people are using Cortana on their Windows phone.
I'm sure it's like all things considered, it's a relatively low cost investment. So
yeah, I think it could be interesting. If to be honest, I never use Siri, really, at all.
Yeah.
So
I use it not every day, but a couple times a week, I would say.
Interesting.
It is like if you're just in your apartment by yourself, and I do use a plugged in, especially when I'm getting ready in the morning. It's great. If you're listening to music and you're cooking something, and you hold down the button on the microphone, and you can open Siri and ask for measurement conversions or to send people messages. Yeah.
if your phone's plugged in, Dan, you have to turn on the Hey Siri thing because it does work very well for the hands-free.
Oh, I have done that.
Oh, okay.
But it has to be plugged in, and usually it isn't, except in the morning.
Yeah, but no, it is good for quick things like that, and maybe that's all we really need it for. I don't know, but it'll be interesting. Let's see. We've got time for more news. Maybe we'll just end the show early. I don't know. Just quickly, and we can talk through. There's 3 more stories in the rundown. Google launched the Google Store. Before, if you bought hardware from Google, you used to have to go to play.google.com and then click Store and then do it through there. They finally launched their own thing, store.google.com. It is the Google Store, and that's where you can buy hardware and accessories from Google, things like the Nexus 6, the Nexus 9, Nexus TV, Nest thermostat, the Nest fire thing, the Pixel, all this stuff. Store.google.com is now the central place you can buy those, and you get free shipping on everything. So, a good source for that. Android Wear, all that kind of stuff.
Sweet.
This week we also saw the end of SoftCard. So we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Google Wallet partnering with SoftCard to expand their payment empire. And we thought, wow, this is really interesting. It says bad things about SoftCard, that they have to partner with Google after they've kind of been enemies. Well, things must not be great because SoftCard is officially shutting down on March 31st. This was the payment system backed by all the major carriers in the U.S. Essentially, Google Wallet will just take over SoftCard. Google bought some of the technology, and all SoftCard user accounts will be closed on March 31st, and that's it. So it's over for SoftCard, but we'll continue on for Google Wallet.
Okay, well, I'm surprised they gave up that quickly on that, honestly. But also glad, because it wasn't going to work.
Yeah, my best guess is they dumped a ton of money into this, and then all of a sudden they see Samsung with Loop Pay and Apple with Apple Pay, and they're like, why the hell do we even care? We've got bigger fish to fry. And to be fair, these carriers do this stuff all the time. I remember Verizon, I don't think we talked about it on the show, but Verizon Wireless for like 2 weeks had their own blog.
I was going to ask about that. What happened to that?
They folded it. They got a ton of crap about how all the news was sponsored by Verizon Wireless, and they said this is garbage, and so they folded it. This week they also announced they're doing their own television channel.
What?
With content from Awesomeness TV, which is like a YouTube channel / production company in partnership with DreamWorks Animation. So that
doesn't actually sound like a terrible idea.
No, it's just a television channel with content. I mean,
also, Awesomeness TV has two stars out of 10 on IMDb. Whatever that is.
Yeah, I mean, they're not. I know for a fact you would know the shows that they produce. There's some that are on Nickelodeon and that are on.
Yeah, it looks like a Nickelodeon show.
Yeah, and they have content on a bunch of different a bunch of different things. I'm talking and looking at the same time, and it's really not working. They've made movies, they've made commercials. So they're going to be doing that with Verizon. So Verizon just sprays their money wherever they want. And so I guess Softcard was just a failed experiment that will probably be best known as being called ISIS, which they had to change because of the bad ISIS, which is a great story, and that's fantastic.
Yes, it is.
That's just about it for news. Very quickly on the very last story, just a rumor going around about Google's new wireless service we talked about. The rumor is it'll only work on the Nexus 6 phone they sell. Citing Wall Street Journal, citing sources familiar with the matter, say it could launch as soon as late March, but it won't work with any phone other than the current flagship device, which is manufactured by Motorola. Don't know any of this for sure, but that is just the rumor.
Oh yeah, did we talk about the Google Wireless thing last week as a whole?
We talked about it like 2 or 3 weeks ago when you weren't here.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yep. I still haven't listened to that episode that never downloaded.
You'll never know what happened that week. You'll be
like I missed that story, and now I don't know what I don't know anything about the Google Wireless network.
There's not much to know because they didn't say much. They just said it's going to be limited and it's going to be MVNO, which probably means Sprint or T-Mobile, though they didn't even say that. So
right,
there's not much. I'm telling you, Google I/O, we're going to hear all kinds of stuff about this. I'm sure that is coming up in May.
What would make you excited about a Google network, Google mobile network?
To get me to buy in, you would need affordable, never throttled, unlimited data with whatever phone I want.
Wow.
I really have very high standards because honestly, I don't. my current cell phone is not that exorbitant, and I get great service, and I have a data cap, but I never hit it. So it's like you'd really have to sell me pretty hard to get me to switch. I'm satisfied as a customer.
Yeah, I think it'd have to be cheap.
Oh yeah,
like
bargain basement cheap.
Right, like I feel like with T-Mobile, I feel like that's pretty much the cheapest. Or maybe it's not the cheapest, but I would imagine it's the like cheapest to like quality trade-off you're gonna get, at least for where I live. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd be certainly skeptical. But.
The rumor is that they're gonna sell it on the virtues of its technology, right? Oh, it'll easily switch from Wi-Fi to cellular, and like that I don't really care about, to be honest.
Right.
When it comes to my phone, you really got to hit me up on things like data caps and prices and availability and reception and those kind of things. And
yeah, I
don't know how Google really competes with any of those.
Right. And what happens when you're not in? I mean, I feel like the Google Wireless Network is going to be a thing in like 1 or 2 places. What happens when you're not in those places? Do you have to like? No.
It won't be region locked. So it'll do like what Boost Mobile, Virgin Mobile, Straight Talk. What they all do is they essentially rent out the Sprint or T-Mobile network. And so anywhere there's Sprint in the country, you'll be able to use it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Fair enough.
That will be a thing. So keep an eye out for that. Let's jump ahead and let's get right into our picks this week. We've got some in the document, which means we've got to talk about them. And we will have Mr.
Yeah, we all put one in. Don't say we put some in the document.
Well, some. This is some. 3 is some.
Yes. It's a few, Sean.
Let's not even go there. It's a couple. It's several. It's many.
A multitude of picks.
Let's just jump in. Colby, we're going to have you go first and talk about a song a day.
Okay. So I don't remember where I saw this. I think I saw it on Twitter or something. But it's basically an email list that you sign up for. I'm not sure if email list is the correct term because I don't think that's exactly what it is. But you sign up. And they just email you a song a day, and it starts like a week after you sign up. So it's like a new song. It's like a music discovery service. But the really interesting thing I found is that it's not an algorithm. It's like a real person that sends you a link to a song every day. So I thought that was kind of cool. And like when you sign up, you give them like your name, email, and you like they have questions like tell us a band that you really love, and tell us a band that you like, tell us a song that you love, tell us a song that you like, and then it's like, yeah, you just submit it. And I got my first song, and I listened to it and I liked it. I want to listen to it again. So it's kind of cool. I don't know like how they pay the people who are finding songs for me or what. I have no idea, but it seems kind of neat.
This is amazing. Well, my question is, where did you hear about this?
It had to be Twitter. I can't imagine where else it was, but
because this seems really not necessarily small potatoes, but
yeah, it seems very right. Yeah, it is, and it's not computers, and I don't think maybe it is huge, but I can't imagine it's huge. It also, I guess, I'm looking through the website now, and down the bottom they have a form to like apply to be a curator, like picking music for people. It's kind of cool, but yeah, I don't know. Give it a try. We'll see. Again, I got one song that I liked, but I don't know. Maybe tomorrow's song won't be good.
As they say, your results may vary. No, this is super cool. asongaday.co is the website. You can go there, sign up, and get a song a day. So that's super cool. Very good. Dan Miller, we're gonna have you go next here with another fantastic, I'm sure, PlayStation game. Tell us about Helldivers.
Yeah, this one isn't as much fun because Colby actually recommended it to me, so he already knows about it. So for all the people listening who have a PlayStation 3, a PlayStation 4, or a PlayStation Vita, you can download this game called Helldivers, which is the most online co-op fun I've had since, Diablo 2. Which, by the way, Diablo 3 is also on PS4 and is co-op, local and online, so you might want to try that too. So Helldivers is top-down. You rotate. You can. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's top-down. You can rotate. It's not a side scroller. You're sort of moving.
I feel like it was referred to as like a 2-axis shooter.
That's an excellent way to describe it. A 2-axis shooter. So you just sort of point your gun and you shoot things, and you can get different guns and power-ups. But that's not the fun part. The fun part is you work with a team of 4 people to achieve these objectives on the map. Doom.
Literally everything can kill you.
Yeah, which is somewhat frustrating, but mostly just fun because it's really well put together. Best enjoyed with friends.
Wonderful. Outstanding. Helldivers, available wherever finer video games are sold. Very cool. All right, well, we will continue on to my pick, which is Meerkat, which is the sort of uber hip app of the minute. So if you haven't
Uber
heard
for what?
What? It's the sort of flavor of the month for apps. So
I know. I was just kidding.
I know. Well, you're real funny. So Meerkat, it was an app created in 8 hours. That someone decided that, hey, you should just be able to tap a button and just start streaming live to the internet and to Twitter. And so he did it. And he created an app. It's called Meerkat, Meerkat. And the way it works, and I'm actually going to put it up here on screen for you, airplay it over. It's really simple. You sign in with your Twitter account, OAuth, and 2 buttons, schedule, stream. So you can schedule a stream in the future, or you can just start streaming. So for example, I wrote here, Don't Panic Podcast Pick, and I'm going to hit stream. I'll give it access to the camera here and the microphone. And there we go. I am now streaming to live. So they posted on my Twitter feed. They said, Sean Jennings is now doing live on Meerkat. And you can see on screen here, it shows the feed of my camera. This is what I'm looking at on my end. And it says where I'm broadcasting from, my Twitter handle, how many people are watching. It says what I'm doing this for or about. And then what's great is, as you're broadcasting, if people tweet using your kind of your @ symbol, your handle, it'll show up on the feed itself. So right now I have 2 people watching. Colby is one of them. You can stop at any time. You can switch and use both cameras. You can join in the conversation. What's really amazing to me is it's just one click. You just tap the button and you're streaming live, and it's really easy. I actually like the angle I'm currently shooting at. It looks really good. And so it's called Meerkat. It's one tap to stream. Dan is now watching as well. And it does it all over Twitter. It's all generally Twitter-based. To me, it's very similar to like how Vine started, right, as sort of a Twitter-esque app and then sort of became its own thing. I'm really excited about the cool things you can do with this. And this really makes me wish I had unlimited data on my phone, because I would literally stream everything all the time. More of the, as Dan was giving me crap at the beginning of the show, he said, the boring, mundane things I complain about. Just think of what I could live stream. So it's Meerkat. I'll stop the stream right now. We'll hit yes, end the stream. And there you go. And you can save the stream and download it as well. You can't go, like, Dan couldn't go back and replay it. It doesn't really work that way. But, yeah.
In fact, it ended way before you...
I pushed the button.
Like, yeah. Because the streaming was so far behind.
Oh, interesting. Well, it's called Meerkat. It's available on iOS and Android. MEERKAT. Their website, MEERKATapp.co. Check it out. I think it's fun. I'm going to try to do more cool things with it and try it more and play around with it, because who knows? Could be a lot of fun. You get to watch my boring life in real time, people. Get pumped.
I am excited.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. So that's, I think, it, gentlemen, unless there's anything else that the two of you have going on that you wish to discuss.
No. I am firmly not doing anything exciting. In fact, that is sort of interesting.
It's interesting that you're not interesting.
Yeah, I am pleasantly surprised at how boring my life is at the moment.
It's a big change for you, Dan, so I think that's fine.
I'm looking forward to, like, not really going anywhere for the next couple weeks. That's exciting.
Yeah, make your friends come to you.
Exactly. That's the plan.
See, and I'm excited because, like, I just found out, like, a month from now I'm going to be in Los Angeles for a week, so...
Whoa!
Yeah, I got to figure out what stuff to do in Los Angeles.
I have never been to Los Angeles.
I don't know what one does there, but
I think I've heard that you get stuck in traffic while you're there.
Maybe I'll get I'll get assaulted by a man dressed as Spider-Man or something. I don't know.
Maybe that would be exciting.
Yeah,
you might make it on the news. You could be on those weird roundups of weird news of the day, like.
What an accomplishment.
Western Massachusetts man gets assaulted by unknown Los Angeles assailant wearing a Spider-Man costume.
Wow, Dan, you really make me excited about this trip when you put it that way. Well, good. Well, I can tell you what. I can guarantee we'll be back next week to do another episode of the show, Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, on our website, don'tpanic.io. All the episodes, all the links, it's all there. Go to the website, one-stop shop, it's wonderful. I also will very quickly tease our partner show on the network, The Goldilocks Zone. If you didn't catch last week's episode, we did the second half of our roundup of the 2016 presidential contenders. We talked Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Jumpin' Joe. We talked about Elizabeth Warren, and we picked our players for our presidential primary fantasy league. So it's a really fun episode. I recommend you all check it out.
Oh my gosh, is Joe Biden going to run for president?
Well, that was our big question, right? Is he going to run, and B, what is he going to run on? Because
he doesn't need to run on anything. He needs to run on the way he eats an ice cream cone. That alone earns him my vote.
He certainly can't run on I'm Barack Obama's best friend, because that's a little scary. But it was a fun episode, and then in a couple days we'll publish. This week's episode is on breakfast food. I know it sounds crazy, but we're doing.
I'm very excited.
Our first ever rapid fire episode. We're going to get through as many as we can in the span of an episode. We're going to talk about bacon and muffins and oatmeal, all of it. So It's going to be a fun one. So check it out, GoldilocksShow.com. And in the coming weeks, hopefully we'll have both of these guys on at some point.
You should make sure to talk about crumpets because I think they're distinct from English muffins and in the best way possible.
Oh man, I'm going to have to make sure we bring that up. That's perfect. All right. Well, thanks to all of you out there for joining us. On behalf of both of these gentlemen, I'll wish you all a fair good night, and we'll see you next week for a brand new episode of Don't Panic.